Dear brothers and sisters, there's no doubt that we're living now at a very, very unusual time. The signs of the Day of Judgment are drawing closer and closer and becoming more and more of a reality. Knowledge is disappearing. Ignorance is prevailing. The leaders are the worst of the people. The trusts are gone. Everything seems to be foggy and confused. The good deeds are decreasing. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ warned about this time and prophesied this time. And he warned about the years that will come, that we're living in now. He said, سَيَأْتِي عَلَى النَّاسِ سَنَوَاتٍ خَدَّاعَاتٍ. There will come a time where the people will go through years of deception. What will happen during that time? يُصَدَّقُ بِهَا الْكَاذِبُ وَيُكَذَّبُ بِهَا الصَّادِقُ. The truthful will be called a liar. The liar will be called truthful. The trustworthy will not be trusted. And the corrupt will be deemed the reliable one. And during that time he said, وَيَتَكَلَّمُ فِيهَا الرُّوَيْبِضَةِ. The Ruwaybidah will start speaking up. So the Sahaba asked, وَمَا الرُّوَيْبِضَةِ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ? Who are these people? Who are the Ruwaybidah? He said, الرَّجُلُ التَّافِهِ يَتَكَلَّمُ فِي أَمْرِ الْعَامَّةِ. The most foolish of people will start speaking about the public affairs. The ones speaking up, the ones addressing the public matters will be the most foolish of people. So if this is not addressing the time that we're living in now, فَمَتَى? The haram is beautified. Things that were recently classified as immoral and shameful are now trends. Things that were disgraceful, things that were frowned upon, they're now considered noble. They're honorable. People who try to speak up, to say something, people who try to stick to their fundamentals, they're attacked. And sometimes they're attacked even by the Muslims before the non-Muslims. So during this time, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ gave advice that we all have to implement in our lives. He said, كُن وَرِعًا تَكُنْ أَعْبَدِ النَّاسِ. So be wari'a. Be wari'a. You'll be from the most obedient of people. What is wari'a? What does this word mean? Have wara' and you'll be from the most obedient of people. Be cautious. Be a cautious believer. Be a believer that avoids the haram, the doubtful, even sometimes the halal, for fear that it might lead you to haram. This is called wara'. This action of the heart is called wara', being a cautious Muslim. And being from the having wara', it's not about having the longest beard. It's not about having the shortest robe. It's not about praying the most units of prayer. It's not about fasting the most. These are all important things. These are all part of our deen. But having wara' is beyond that. As the Salaf used to say, لا يعجبك كثرة صلاة امرئ ولا صيامه. Don't be impressed by someone praying a lot, by someone fasting a lot. لكن انظروا إلى ورعه. However, look at his wara'. Look at his caution. Look how cautious he is when he lives his life. In the decisions that he makes, in the words that he says, and the transactions that he enters. فإن كان ورعا, if he has this wara', فَعَلَمْ أَنَّهُ عَبْدَ اللَّهِ حَقًّا. Then know that is the true Abdullah, the true servant of Allah. One time a man came to Umar ibn al-Khattab, wanting to praise, wanting to bear witness, wanting to testify on someone's behalf. He was praising him. So Umar asked him, radiyallahu anhu, he said, هَلْ أَنْتَ جَارُهُ? Are you his neighbor? He said, no, I'm not his neighbor. He said, هَلْ سَافَرْتَ مَعَهُ? Have you ever traveled with him? No, I've never traveled with him. هَلْ عَامَلْتَهُ بِالدِّرْهَمْ وَالدِّينَارِ? Have you ever dealt with him financially? Trading, buying and selling? He said, no. He said, وَيْحَكَ. Woe to you, you don't even know this individual. You're coming to praise him, you're coming to testify on his behalf, you don't even know him. And he told him, لَعَلَّكَ رَأَيْتَهُ يَرْكَعْ رَكَعَاتٍ فِي الْمَسْجِدِ. Maybe you saw him praying a few prostrations in the masjid, and so you're willing to testify on his behalf. Meaning there's more to it than that. If you're not of the people who's seen someone's business dealings, if we're not cautious in our day-to-day life, and the way we speak to one another, and the way we deal with one another, and our treatment of our neighbors, then this person was not deserving of being praised, and was not deserving of having someone stand up on his behalf, just because of the few rak'at, the few units of prayer that he prayed. A sign that Allah Azza wa Jal loves someone is that He blesses him with this caution. In his heart, he's blessed with caution. Cautious of what we're listening to. Cautious of the words that we're saying. Cautious of what we're looking at. Cautious of our relationships. Of where we're making our money. Of what we're spending our money on. A methodology in life of wara'a, of caution. Always analyzing what we're doing. Holding ourselves accountable. Will this please Allah? Will this bring me any goodness? Will this bring the pleasure of Allah? Would I do this in front of the Prophet Muhammad if he was here now? This is the wara. This is that action of the heart. The Prophet Muhammad established for us this principle in a hadith that Imam al-Nawawi collected in his 40, when his goal was to sum up the entire religion of Islam in 40 hadith. This was one of them. In a hadith that one of the 5 fiqh maxims, al-qawa'id al-fiqhiyya al-kubra, is based upon. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Da' ma yaribuka ila ma la yaribuka." Leave everything that makes you doubt for that which does not make you doubt. Leave everything in your life that makes you doubt for that which does not make you doubt. And the Prophet Muhammad was our qudwa. He was our example in this, to show us it was realistic. It was a reality. He was one time walking with the Sahaba, with the companions, and they spotted a date on the ground. And the Sahaba all wanted to pick it up. They saw a date on the ground, a perfectly good date. So listen to what he said. He said, لولا أن أخشى أن تكون من الصدقة لأكلتها. If I didn't fear that this date was from the sadaqah, the charity that was given, I would have eaten it. The prophets are not allowed to eat charity. If I didn't fear that this date, this one date on the ground, what are the chances that this date was from the charity? And it ended up here on the ground. What would we do in that situation? Finding the date, finding the bill, the business opportunity. If I didn't fear that this one date was possibly from the charity, I would have eaten it. That was the methodology. Fearing Allah, fearing the hellfire, yearning for Jannah, that affected the way they lived their life, that affected every decision they would make, every word they would say, every action they would do. They would think about it. And that's wara. And the Sahaba after that, the Sahaba who learned from him were upon the same. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he used to have a servant bring him food, and he would ask the servant, "Where are you getting the food from? Where is this food from?" But one day the servant brought him food and he didn't ask. He started eating. So the servant said, "Aren't you going to ask me where the food is from?" So he said, "Where is the food from?" He said, لَقَدْ تَكَهَنْتُ لِرَجُلٍ فِي الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ. I foretold the future for somebody in the Jahiliyyah. I foretold his future. وَمَا أُحْسِنُ الْكَهَانَةِ. I didn't know what I was doing. وَلَكِنْ خَدَعْتُهُ. I deceived him. I told him, "I'll tell your future." I told his future. فَلَقِيَنِي فِي الطَّرِيقِ فَأَعْطَانِي. He met me now recently in the road. He paid me my wage. I got my money. So this food that we're eating, it's from that wage. What would we do in that situation? Ask yourself. How many excuses would we give ourselves? From the Jahiliyyah, he's a young servant, the food's already down, we're forgiven for that which we don't know. We'd find ourselves giving hundreds of excuses. But look at the action of the Sahaba that grew up in that madrasa of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فأدخل أبو بكر يده فقاء كل ما في بطنه. Abu Bakr put his hand in his mouth immediately and started vomiting, started throwing up until everything had exited. We might be surprised. His family was surprised. They said, يرحمك الله كل هذا من أجل اللقمة. May Allah have mercy on you. You're doing all of this for one bite? Just for one bite of food? He said, والله لو ما خرجت إلا مع نفسي لأخرجتها. If the only way by Allah to get that bite out was with my soul, I would have got it out with my soul. This is the wara' that they had. This is the methodology that they lived their lives with. Fearing Allah, yearning for Jannah, not taking any chance. Why? Why did he go that far? He said, I heard the Prophet Muhammad say, كُلُّ جَسَدٍ نَبَتَ مِنْ سُحْتٍ فَالنَّارُ أَوْلَى بِهِ. Everybody nourished from haram, the fire is more deserving of that body. Everybody nourished from haram, the fire is more deserving of that body, and I wasn't going to take a chance. They weren't taking any chances. Umar, he said, تَرَكْنَا تِسْعَةَ أَعْشَارٍ الْحَلَالِ مَخَافَةَ الرِّبَى. Umar said, we left 90% of business transactions that were halal. We left 90% of business transactions that were halal for fear it might lead to riba, to interest, to usury. 90%. We might see that as a loss, not taking advantage, but the true loss will be the one who comes on the Day of Judgment. And the only hurdle between him and Jannah are those few dollars they made. The only hurdle between him and paradise are those words they shouldn't have said, are those chances they shouldn't have taken. So on that day of deen, on that day of recompense, prepare for that day by implementing the words of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, وَخَيْرُ دِينِكُمْ الْوَرَعِ. The best aspect in your deen is al-wara', is to be cautious. أقول ما تسمعون استغفر لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن استنى بسنته واهتدى بهديه إلى يوم الدين وبعد. Dear brothers and sisters, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ lived a remarkable life from beginning to end. There's no denying that. Even the non-Muslims have confirmed that and have been forced to confirm that. When Michael Hart was writing his book, The 100, the 100 most influential people in history, he said, if I was going to be truthful, nobody lived a life and attained success in the secular and in the spiritual level like the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Nobody. Perfected every aspect of life. So I had to place him as number one, if I was going to be truthful. But we notice with that life and with that success and with that power and with that honor and with everything that they had, this one concept of wara' never left. Of caution, of being extra cautious, it never left. They weren't taking any chances. From the beginning all the way until the last moments of life. When the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was passing away, no one was closer to him than Aisha. He was in her arms, radiallahu anha. She was there by his side, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, holding him, brushing his teeth, making dua for him, reading the ruqya on him, right there by his side every minute of the way. So she said, in the midst of all of that, أمرني رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن أتصدق بصدقة بذهب كان عندنا. In the midst of all of that, the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم ordered her to go give charity. The little amount of gold that we had, go give it in charity. And he was passing in and out of consciousness. And he would wake up and ask her, ما فعلتي? What did you do? Did you answer? Did you do what I said? And she would say, شغلني يا رسول الله. I'm busy with all of this. I can't get up. I'm busy dealing with the illness and everything that we're seeing. So he ordered for the money to be brought. And the money was brought to him. And it was 7 or 9 dinars, a small amount of money. And he looked at that money and he said, مَا ظَنُّ Muhammad. He said, what does Muhammad expect if he meets his Lord and he has this money sitting in his house? What can Muhammad expect, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he meets his Lord and this money is sitting there in his house? Was it haram? Was it doubtful? The only concern at that time is, how will this affect my meeting with Allah? How will this affect my last day? How will this affect my akhirah? To the point that in the last breaths you're taking, you're thinking about your meeting with Allah. You're thinking about leaving everything that's doubtful, leaving everything that might harm you, leaving everything that might bring you negativity on that day. This was the concern. This was the concern, even with the halal. And this is the true meaning of wara'. So dear brothers and sisters, incorporate this action into your heart. Cautious, over cautious. Analyze everything that you do and everything that you say and all of your transactions, asking yourself, will this bring the pleasure of Allah or not? Begin by leaving the muharramat. اتق المحارم تكن أعبد الناس. Leave the haram, you'll be from the most obedient of people. And then leave the doubtful, leave the gray area, leave the halal if you think it might lead you to haram. If you do so, then we'll be from the ones that the Prophet Muhammad said about them, فَقَدْ اسْتَبْرَأَ لِدِينِهِ وَعِرْضِهِ. You will save your religion and your honor. This is the only way to save our religion and our honor. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to bless our hearts with wara', to make us from the overcautious.